Hey there. Get to know me session 2. We're going to make this one a lot more short. But while I'm sitting with my morning cacao, which is raw cacao, which is like just a less refined version of cocoa, which is my other morning drink that I usually indulge in about half the time, I'm going to answer some more questions. But the first one got me really thinking about if my answer to this question is the highest version of me. So the question is, what motivates me in my career? And the honest first answer that I would have is, I'm motivated to succeed and have abundance financially because I want to have a cushion, like a safety net, for my family, for my children. I want to make sure my children are never in the position of being homeless like I was. I want to make sure my grandchildren never go without. I want to leave them in a position that they don't have to suffer in that way. And that's what motivates me. And when I say that, I realize, oh, well, that's sort of like being motivated out of fear. So that's in the lack paradigm, right? So in actuality, if I were to step out of the lack that would put me in, the lack stance, the lack mindset that answer puts me in, what motivates me in my career, then I'd have to say something still that might be, like, I don't know if I can step out of it, because my next answer might be something like, just I want to serve God's purpose for me. I want God to, I've already devoted myself to do and be a vessel for God's goodness. And that's motivating to me. But I also kind of feel like he doesn't need, like I wouldn't be loved no less if I didn't choose to do that, if I was just living for my own enjoyment. And I feel like I did come to a point in my journey where I was no longer really being told what to do as much, and I was kind of more like left to my own devices, and kind of like, it was a point where I was like, oh, like, I'm an adult now, and I'm not looking to daddy to tell me what to do anymore. Now it's like, what do I want to do? And that's, was a challenging moment for me, but I'm glad that I was put in that position, because then I started doing more fun things. So I think there's like got to be this balance. And so what motivates me in my career is simply like, something has got to be done while you're here. Like, I'll keep it in balance with all the other things I'm doing, but like, it's an important part of the ingredients to what gives me a fulfilling experience while I'm here on Earth. 6. So if I could change anything about myself, what would it be? Oh, I've started with question 5 and 6, as you can now tell. If I could change anything about myself, what would it be? My initial answer is nothing, but I want to really think about it deeper. I mean, it's really, it would be shallow, superficial stuff. Like, I would grow my teeth back, but like, I already plan on doing that. So I don't need to change it, because I feel like it's already in process. If that makes sense. And I feel like I'm doing that for me. So it's not really like changing me. It's like being the best version of me that I can be. So no, I wouldn't want to change anything about myself. I like that this is my experiences, and this is who I am. Would I rather watch action, romance, fantasy, or horror? I can say not horror. Probably not fantasy. depends on my mood, whether it would be action or romance, to be honest. And too much action, like if the whole effing movie is action, it can be a bit overwhelming for me. But if the whole movie is sappy, slow romance, I don't like that either. Like, I like romantic comedies. Okay, do I forgive others easily? Yeah, not necessarily easily. It's a process of forgiveness. It's something I actually have to put conscious effort to doing. I don't just like forget it happened or whatever if there's something that someone's done to wrong me, but I don't carry the burden of it with me. I let myself process through the emotion of how I feel about it, and then I give them a generous assumption. After I've processed how I feel, then I assume that they were doing their best. So why would I take that personal? You know, even if their best isn't good enough for me to stay in their life, it's their best. And, you know, that's all I can ask of anyone. What did I learn from success? Well, anytime I've reached a goal or been successful, I guess I've noticed that there's always more. So that success is just steps on a ladder. That success is measured by our own judgment and our own feelings and our own decision. That my success might not look like your success, and that's how it's supposed to be. You know, successful for me is the fact that I've cut out sugar, you know. Successful for me is the fact that I don't feel like dying every day anymore. You know, like I've reached a lot of success. Success for me is that I'm not homeless. Success for me is that I live in peace and that I can make good decisions for myself, right? And success for another person might be achieving out in the world and gaining some sort of fame or fortune or whatever, right? And even though those are successes that I may achieve at some point in my life, the successes that I have already achieved are the ones that would come to mind when I answer this question. That's kind of how I feel about success. It's like something I look at as an after effect when I'm asked only. like at no point have I sat and, well, I mean, I've celebrated how far I've come, but there hasn't been like a big portion of any of my days thinking about, oh, it's so great that I've achieved this, you know what I mean? And maybe there should have been, I don't know. If I could change one thing about myself, what would it be? Why is that question repeated? Just because it is. Who do I look up to? Anyone who's taller than me? Who do I look up to? God is the only person, or not, he's not a person. But God, if he were personified, and he has been by many people referring to him in that manner, but God would be the only one that I would look up to. Maybe angels and guides, but I feel like they've kind of expressed to me that we're more of a team than them leading me, that I'm part of this team and I get to make the decisions on the ground here. That they're just here to serve me. So it's God. It's got to be God. Am I afraid of a challenge? No. I crave challenge at times, you know. I like things to be easy. Sure, I need my comfort zone. Yeah, I don't want to be challenged every step of the day. But I'm not afraid of challenge. What impact do I want to have on the world? Oh. I know that my impact on the world is that I am adding my essence to the soup. And so, when you make a soup and you add all these ingredients, and like each ingredient was important to make that soup be the great soup that it is. That's how I would look at it. Like, my impact is that I'm one of those nice ingredients of the soup that make it good. Do I have a special talent that surprises people? I think people are probably really surprised by me, who I am, how I am, for real. Like, I don't think my outside demeanor necessarily foretells much about what's going on the inside of me. And I think that was by design. I think that I chose that purposely when I chose this body and the experiences that I would have. I've had people say to me, like, they didn't think that I had I must not have had a very challenging life, or like bad things happened to me because of my demeanor. Like, it just remains soft on the outside, and I love that. Like, I think maybe people might get the idea now that I've lost teeth and I'm overweight again, that kind of looks more like a person who's been through some shit. So maybe more now than ever, I might look like what I have on the inside, which is just tenacity, resilience, strength, wisdom, kindness. The kindness probably shows the most on the outside. Inquisitive nature, that might show. So, I think people might be surprised by my intellect as well, and I mean that in a humble way. Because I think, my intellect will only show in certain circumstances because I am more humble. I've been taught to be more humble and more discerning and more observant and more a listener. And there's no, like, part of my ego that needs to prove that I have whatever, So that might be a surprising thing to people as well, because also I might come off as really, like, clumsy or put my foot in my mouth in social circumstances, so it doesn't come off as somebody who's intelligent. Where do I like to go to relax or hang out? Sometimes I just sit in a chair in my yard or my bed. Spend time at the beach, just looking at the lake. My sister's house. What annoys you? What annoys you? We've only got a couple minutes left. What annoys me? I guess different things at different times for different periods of time, right? Like, I don't let anything weigh on me for very long. The last thing I can remember being annoyed about was, like, when someone that I love allowed their boundaries to be violated and let somebody back into their life who had already caused a burden and hurt them. And then I saw it was going to affect my other family member. I was just, like, concerned and annoyed that this person had let their boundaries be violated, but that other person was even infiltrating again, and that my other family member may be affected. And, and it's like, because that was out of my control, that has nothing to do with me, it's not my choice. It was just like something where I might be affected because I would have to then clean up some of the mess on one of those family members' detriments. And that I had concern for my family member who is letting the boundaries be violated, because they might get sucked into something that's not good for them. And what I had to do was talk through it and acknowledge that I was feeling about this, acknowledge that why I felt that way, and acknowledge that I also didn't have any control over the situation, and then, be present with those feelings of annoyance and anger, and just like give it to God. And to be honest, within 1/2 of an hour from me doing that, the whole situation shifted and that person was gone out of the lives of my family members. So highly recommend giving it to God, right? Because say I had just held on to that annoyance and not worked through it and let go of it. Say I had like just held on to it and then like let it become anger and annoyance and just like held a grudge. It wouldn't have shifted. So I feel like whatever annoys me is an invitation to change something in my life, and I welcome it. And I know how to handle it, so it's like whatever. Who inspires me? Okay, here's my last one. Who inspires me? I kind of feel like every single person. Every single person. I feel so inspired by every single human. You can tell I just love them. I feel honored when I get to sit down with somebody and speak to them. And when they allow me to see them, and I think everyone's inspiring. Who inspires you? Share in the comments if you feel like it. See you next time.